Okay, so a quick issue here. What about something like this? What if we're going to do, okay, how about if we have, what about that? That looks different, strange. What's real different about that? Oh, there's an x cube. Okay, so this would be a huge problem because we do not know how to factor cubics. Like this isn't until much late in Algebra 2, Honors Algebra 2, we'll talk about this. So this is a long ways away, but I'm telling you, we can still do this one. Why? Okay, because each term up here has an x in it, doesn't it? Okay, so when we factor out the greatest common factor here, we're used to all the examples we've looked at, it's just been a number, hasn't it? Okay, but in this case, it's more than just a number. Well, what is the number part, though? I mean, what's the biggest number we can take out of all these? 2. Okay, I heard 2 and -2. Both I could consider to be correct, but one of them I'm going to, theoretically, but one of them is much more correct than the other one. Here's why. Whenever A is negative, we always want to factor out that negative. Even if it's just a -1, I think it's a good idea, right? And there's a reason for that we don't see a lot this year, but we see it a lot next year. Okay? And so we always want to factor out the negative. So we're going to factor out the -2, because 2 goes into each of those numbers, and A is negative, so we'll pull out the entire -2. Okay, but then look at the variables. All of these variables have at least an x in them, right? And so therefore, I can also undistribute the biggest common power of x. Well, this last term only has an x to the 1, right? So I could undistribute an x to the 1 from all of those. Agreed? Okay, what am I left with if I do that? What's this first term become? X squared. Everybody see that? If I undistribute the -2, that's out front. I'm taking away a power of x. So I'm left with an x squared. Everybody see that? Okay, what about this term?
-3.
Okay, -3x. Now it's starting to get a little trickier there maybe. How are we getting these? Factoring is a process of division. When you factor something out or undistribute it, all you're really doing is just dividing it away from that term. So let's look at it in that way. So the first one wasn't so bad. If I take a -2x cubed and I divide that by -2x, well, the -2's cancel, right? What's x cubed divided by x to the 1? X squared, because remember, when we divide like bases, we subtract exponents, right? Okay, so then that's how we get this x squared, right? Okay, what about this term? So if we take a positive 6x squared and we divide it by -2x, 6 divided by -2 is -3. X squared divided by x is x, right? And then the last one, 20x divided by -2x. 20 divided by -2 is -10. And x divided by x is 1. They cancel, right? Make sense? Okay, and then now we've got a -2x out front. That factor is taken care of. Then all we'd have to do is just deal with the quadratic now, right? And you know how to do that. That's not a big deal. Okay, what about, well, what about this one then? What if you had, I don't think I gave you any like this, but I just want you to be prepared for it. What if you had something like negative 2x squared gotta make one up here. What am I going to do there? Can't factor anything out, right? So we're going to do bottoms up, right? Okay. Something that makes this a lot easier to do, though, with bottoms up is if I pull that negative out front. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative, what's left over if I pull that negative out front? If I undistribute a negative 1. Positive 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. Okay, so then when we're done, we're going to do bottoms up on this, right? And you know how to do bottoms up, that's fine. But when we're all done, wouldn't you agree that bottoms up is going to spit out something like that, different factors? What do I do with this minus sign? I wouldn't. I would just leave it out front. Yeah. Okay. And it's really, like I say, it's not such a huge deal right now. It's just a good habit to get into later. For one reason that's true, well, I'm not going to complicate it by giving you an example right now. We'll talk about it when it comes up. Okay, make sense? All right, so let's go work on this stuff. I did put up, I'll show this to you real quick. I did put up an algebra review study guide. It's a double value assignment. I did not, did I put, let me check something on this one. I don't think, yeah, okay. I didn't put an on-time credit element on it, but obviously it's important to do. There is gonna be a sort of a due date on it. You can still finish it after that due date and get full credit on it, but I'm going to demand in order to be able to do a retake, you're gonna have to have this completed and get like say 70% or above on it, something like that, in order to be eligible to do Moodle won't even let you take the retake unless you've met that condition. So you definitely want to get it done. It should go pretty quickly. It's all the stuff you've done, but I just want to give you a little bit of additional practice. I'll give you plenty of time to do it in class. We'll take all day today, probably all day tomorrow. I'll give you to just kind of crank through this stuff, and that way I really want to get a little more lab time where I can get some questions answered for people. Yep.
And so this one, when you put in the answer, it doesn't let you change it?
What do you mean?
Well, like, how would you get like not 100% yet?
Well, it doesn't penalize you,
Yeah.
but you have to get the right answer to get credit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we good? All right. Let's go to